The images we are exposed to in the media help shape our perception of everything around us. A group of teachers met up to discuss how we represent those who teach tomorrow's generation.
Hello and welcome to Issues in Education. I'm Neil Cook and I will be your moderator for today's panel discussion. I'm an administrator in the post-secondary education sector of Manitoba, and today I'm joined by three of my colleagues, also from the educational sector in post-secondary education: Christine Johnston-Hayward, Myrna Davis, and Anita Best. Today we are going to be discussing the topic of how teachers are portrayed in the media. More specifically, should teachers be responsible to their students outside of the classroom walls? We want to first take a look at a film clip from the movie The Varsity Blues. In this movie, we're engaged with a number of high school students that go out for a night of partying and drinking and somehow get into a bar. While in that bar, what they do see is one of their teachers is taking a second job as an exotic dancer. And we would like to take a look at how the dynamics of that student-to-teacher relationship changes as a result of this evening out.
I'd like to propose a toast to Miss Davis. Miss Davis.
10!
It's good to hear that.
Gentlemen, now that none of us are inebriated, I just wanted to remind you of our little conversation. I really appreciate y'all not saying anything.
We already made a pact not to say a word.
Really?
Miss Davis?
Huh?
Did you go to the prom with me?
Interesting clip. So even though that this is a fictitious event that we would not normally see within the education sector, and I don't believe myself that it would happen, the storyline as it's portrayed in the media would lead us to believe that this would be a type of behavior that we would see out of a teacher. So I'm going to throw this out to the panel. What are your thoughts on the portrayal of teachers?
I certainly think the way the teacher was portrayed in Varsity Blues was unrealistic. It certainly presented a negative image of a teacher, not in line with how teachers usually behave. Teachers are in a role of public trust. They have a professional responsibility to conduct themselves in a moral and ethical way. They should be positive role models in the community and exercise their own best personal judgment. If you Google, do a Google search using the terms Code of Ethics and Teachers, you'll see there are a number of teachers associations that share that same view.
I just think personal judgment it's hard to say what would be best for her. Maybe she's trying to pay back her student loans, or she's trying to feed her family, and the wage as a teacher just isn't quite enough to be meeting those needs. If you look at the teacher's Code of Ethics, it's all to do with their professional life and not their personal life. So I think there's some room to debate there.
I do agree with you a little bit, Kristen, but disagree as well. If it was for financial concerns, the teacher definitely could have chosen a more respectable second job and not degrade her image as a teacher outside of the classroom setting. We do have to look at her professional image outside those walls.
Let me quickly ask you this question. Would it have made a difference if she were an elementary school teacher?
I don't think it would, because you could run into other colleagues, parents of those teachers. So I don't think it really matters what grade you teach. You are a teacher, an instructor, and you have an image to portray.
Okay, so in that movie, The Varsity Blues, we were dealing with a situation where the teacher is perceived to have been doing it for more personal or financial reasons. If we look and compare that to a movie such as The Great Debaters, in which the teacher in question at that point in time was trying to do outside activities that were going to be more related to social activism. If we look at what Mr. Tilson was doing in that movie, he was busy trying to promote social activism in the community for the rich, or for the poor, sorry, not the rich, the disadvantaged individuals. So what I'd like to do is take a few moments to take a look at this video clip, and we'll see what we have to say about it after we review it.
University of Georgia, sounds like they will follow suit.
Why?
I've been blacklisted. They're talking about censuring me. Dean Clay and the board have asked me to stop working with the sharecroppers, or else they say that it is not my fight. So, things are bad. My academic career is in jeopardy. My debate team has nowhere to go.
All right, this film, which is based on a true story about Melvin Tilson, who was a professor at Wiley College in West Texas, an all-black college with a very small enrollment of students in the day in 1935. Mr. Tilson was a social activist, and as a result of some of his activities, he was told by his administration that it was issues that didn't concern him, and were outside of the classroom's control. What do you think about a teacher being involved in social activism or something that is for the betterment of society outside of their normal duties?
Well, definitely after watching that clip, it really changed my opinion, because how much input is society going to have on my life outside of the classroom? Is this going to impact one's religious beliefs or affiliations with any organizations that they feel are inappropriate?
Discussing the whole aspect of religion in the classroom then. Do you believe that an educator with a religious affiliation or beliefs could be completely unbiased should they run into a situation where a student maybe doesn't share those beliefs and you're trying to impart some of the religious-based curriculum that may or may not be involved in the administration of your school? Do you still feel that they could be non-biased?
I do. I think a true professional can keep their professional and their personal lives separate. Certainly Mr. Tolson in the clip did a good job of doing that, so he was portrayed realistically as other teachers would behave. According to the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, we do have fundamental freedoms of opinion, thoughts, beliefs, and association. So certainly you're entitled to that, just don't bring it into the classroom.
See, and I still stick with my same stance that their personal time is their personal time. You don't need to bring your social agenda into the classroom, just like the exotic dancer didn't need to bring her exotic dancing into the classroom and didn't.
And I would disagree with you, Kristen. I really do think the exotic dancer in the portrayal of Varsity Blues and the image of the teacher, she did bring it into the classroom. It changed the dynamics between her students and herself. And speaking from personal experience, not as an instructor, but as a student, witnessing classmates and myself with our substitute teacher, who they had seen her in her second job, that dynamics really changed. You could see the difference in the way they spoke to each other.
Mr. Tolson, he didn't bring his own personal views into the classroom until he was reprimanded by administration. At that point in time, we have to consider some of the comments that are made in the Hollywood curriculum by Mary Dalton, considering that there may be a hidden agenda. And that's the stereotypical portrayal of a lot of teachers, and that's the storyline basis. What do you think that realistically teachers do bring into the classroom from a personal perspective?
Well, I think sometimes it's seen as a positive thing. If you look at professors, they're seen as the most prestigious teachers, and they're required to have research, teaching, and have service work done. And I believe that the service work is probably fueled more by their personal agenda and passions, and that's a good thing. That enhances their teaching practice.
Well, thank you. Both of these films, though completely polar opposites, were both really good portrayals of how the media sees teachers and stereotypes teachers in general. I would really like to thank our panelists today, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of Issues in Education.